Ladies and gentlemen, welcome all of you. Today is Thursday. We are we have been doing many webinars on video analytics, AI. So today topic very specifically we are talking about safety and security in facility management. So by utilizing the power of artificial intelligence, facility management can achieve smarter and more efficient safety and security practices. It enables proactive risk mitigation, real-time monitoring, predictive maintenance, swift emergency response, underlining swift emergency response, enhance people management or movement management, and data-driven decision-making. So implementing AI-based solution can ultimately lead to safer environment for occupants and protect valuable assets within the facility. So this is the objective of the webinar: how these developers, are in progressively achieving these expectations in the facility management is what we are going to discuss, and how safety and security can be enhanced. So, as I said, my name is Dominic. You may be familiar with my presence in the webinar. We've been doing more than 200 plus webinars in various segments: fire, electrical safety, movement control, video management, detection, smoke detection management. There's so many subjects we've been covering. Alternate week we have this webinar. So today we have chosen the topic from DURANC on AI. So I've been in the industry for 33 years and founder of Fire and Security of India and Forum of Critical Utility Services, and also National Federation of Electrical for Safety in the Electrical Safety Engineering. So we passed in almost a year back, we spoke about surveillance from cost, transforming surveillance from cost center to strategic asset. These recordings are available. Those who did not get an opportunity to participate, we can still share this link to watch this recording. And we did speak about healthcare, intelligent smart surveillance in healthcare and pharma industry. Very well attended program. Then we spoke about logistics center, VMS in logistics center and warehouses. We touched upon educational institution, universities, how you can design CCTV beyond CCTV, current beyond CCTV or beyond surveillance, how you can effectively implement VMS in educational institute. And we also touched upon well-attended program from most of the construction industry. So we spoke about how AI and video analytics can play a role in construction industry. So it's basically construction project. DURANC has been doing a lot of projects in it. They've been supporting. So it was very interesting. So we did in this February on Saturday. We did this. Then we spoke about remote inspection of stores. Remote inspection of, it is about the retail stores. So we spoke about, I think someone is, can you mute the audio please? We spoke about Industry 4.0 on, we spoke about this subject in the month of April. We spoke about centralized security operation. We spoke about how do you bring in all these security aspects, especially on the surveillance. You may have a location in Dehradun, Coimbatore, or Nagpur. So how do you bring all these in a central location? How do you manage this? So we spoke about this. Again, recording is available. And today we are talking about security, safety and security. This is something which our speaker, Mr. Vamshi and Srini will be touching upon. I would like to introduce the developer of the VMS software company called DURANC. DURANC vision is to help businesses and organizations to maximize the potential of their surveillance camera. To do this, they have built a secure, reliable, and cost-effective video platform that provides users with deep, intelligent analytics and insights in real time. Founded in 2015, they gathered a highly talented global team to create cloud-based platform. DURANC innovate video streaming and storage technology, offers clients the ultimate video surveillance functionality delivered seamlessly from the cloud. They headquartered in Nashville, USA. They have an R&D center in Helsinki, Finland, and the development global support in Hyderabad in India. This is, ladies and gentlemen, DURANC for you. And we have two speakers today. We have Srini, who's been familiar when it comes to video management. He's been addressing various different type of customers and different applications. And we have Vamshi, again, very, very familiar face. He's a technocrat and he has been visiting every facility, as I'm aware. If there's a requirement, he personally goes, understand the customer needs. Don't do over, services. What exactly they design what the customer need. So Vamshi has been in the industry for quite long. He's been spearheading the implementation of ISO 9001, 2015. And he's a technical evangelist. He advocates and helps customer benefit from understand the limitation of the technological innovations in the surveillance industry. So, two very familiar face. Mr. Srini today, I think he's in Agartala, or where are you today?
Tripura, Agartala.
Okay, Tripura. I don't know where is Vamshi, which client side is sitting and presenting. I don't know.
No, I'm in Hyderabad today.
Very good. Right. So these guys, I can't really guess where they'll be tomorrow, but they've been helping the police department, helping a lot of state government to formalize such strategy on video management software. And also they've been supporting a lot of channel partners across the country. Those who are participating today as a channel partner, they would love to associate with you. If there are end users, you are looking for a software, looking for a solution, they'll be able to help you. So moving forward, I would like to welcome both Srini and Vamshi to take off from here on. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. Today's subject is a bit, tough subject to cover because, the facility managers are like, Vamshi and myself, we discuss always, they're the supermans of the, industry. They are completely unknown as long as nothing happens. But, they come into the forefront when there is a small incident happens, and they have to be on alert to cover many things, not just one. Usually everybody have a specific, simple area of management, but facility managers are like extreme end to end. They have many faculties to take care, many things to address, and they have to be on top of the things so nothing happens to a lot of people who are living there, who are working in the facilities. And the customer experience is very important aspect, because end of the day, the facility managers seamlessly defines the experience of the customers. So having said that, for the facilities management, the flavor of the facilities management is completely extensive. Like, the SEZs have a different requirement, commercial complexes, malls, hospitals, factories, so to say, have a lot of these different flavors in terms of how you address and what kind of a solution actually cater to them if it is a specific facility. Hospital got a different requirement, malls got a different requirement, cinema theaters got a different requirement. So there is an element of complete differentiation in terms of what is expected, what is required. And one size of a solution doesn't fit all. It has to have flexibility in terms of how we design a solution to what facility in collaboration with that facility manager. So there has to be a lot of flexibility, and that's what we do. In DURANC, we define and design and implement based on a specific requirement and based on what is customer requires about it. So having said that, it's not a simple case because it got a lot of flavors in it. So I'll ask Vamshi to drive the presentation. We'll address a lot of those points in here, but like I said, there is a lot of flavors that we may not be able to address in this small time of 45 minutes. In case if you have any questions, you please post them in the Q&A. And if you have any further requirement related questions, you can send us in the email.
Yeah, definitely, Isa. As you rightly pointed out, it is not possible to cover all the facets of the facilities management and how computer vision can aid facilities management overall in all the aspects. But we have picked up the ones that are generically applicable across different types of facilities, whether it is a manufacturing facility or a hospital or a mall, etc. So the generic ones is what we will try to address during this presentation. So these are the typical aspects that you look at when you look at facilities management. From a vehicle management perspective, when you look at it, you automatically need to track all the vehicles that are coming in, going out, vehicles overstaying in the premises overnight or extended period of time, for example, from a vehicle perspective. From a people perspective, ensuring the convenience of all the occupants, basically ensure attendance of all your subcontractors, ensure safety if any crowding is getting formed, ensuring access control to the visitors to their own areas only, the restricted areas, not to all the floors of the building, for example. So there are many aspects of that. And then you have, from a security perspective, ensuring your perimeter is protected, there is no intrusion that's happening or a loitering that is happening, etc. Then moving on to the utilities, ensuring that energy and water conservation are taken care of. Maybe you'll have IoT devices sending you some inputs which can be integrated and take appropriate actions on it, for example. Compliance is a major aspect for facilities management, whether it is regulatory compliance, environmental compliance, etc. So compliance to whether it is safety-related protocols or violations, compliance to environmental regulations, for example, dumping hazardous material disposal, for example, operations of the STPs, all of that. Then you have disaster preparedness as well, to ensure that you have a real-time situational awareness that's there with you, so you can guide the on-ground team and take emergency, coordinate the emergency responses at your end. And then last but not least, the fire and safety, ensuring that your protocols are proper, there is nothing blocking the fire exits, for example, you have an idea of what is the occupancy at each floor or each building, etc. So these are all the different facets of the areas that you would like to monitor or you worry about on a day-to-day basis. And for that, one of the components that we make use of is the CCTV, and it's all pervasive now. Everybody is aware of what is CCTV, but the way it is used, it has been used till very recent past, I can say, is basically for evidence management. Something happens, you will have all the cameras placed, all the locations. You would keep them recording 24/7. Then if something happens, you go back to investigate and then monitor. So this is what is typically CCTV is used for. But the point when we looked at in DURANC is, can we do more? Is it possible to do more? And what is that we can do? Because whoever is there or not there, the cameras are always present there in the premises. So what can we get out of the video feeds that these cameras provide us all the time? These are some of the possibilities through the cameras. Once we have the feed from all these different cameras located at different places, then we analyze that, and we can trigger events based on the specific parameters we were looking at, for example, from a people perspective, from a vehicle perspective, utilities perspective. So trigger events that we are interested in and be able to take action when that incident or an event is triggered. So even not only taking of an action, for example, if there is an intrusion that is detected on the perimeter, it is possible to sound a hooter also. Not only send a quick response team, the QRT team can go, but along with that, there could be either a voice or a hooter that sounds automatically. And that's an automation of the action that we need to take. So the possibility to take action, but also automate part of those actions. And obviously recording for further analysis, trend analysis to understand how things have moved based on what we have implemented. Yeah. So there are multiple aspects or benefits that we can get out of taking this action in various aspects. For example, in risk management, for example, if you look at it, whether the construction workers, when you are having renovations in the facility, for example, they're wearing a proper protective equipment or not, etc. Then compliance aspect, all of these, will help even in resource optimization as well, whether you want more helpers on the floor or open more checkout counters in a mall scenario, for example. So there are various ways in which the benefits can be obtained by using the feed of the video cameras themselves. But how do we do that? Do we need anything extra to be able to get these benefits is what we will cover during our presentation today. So the thing is that the existing cameras can be made use of to be able to provide all those benefits that we looked at in the previous slide. So there is no new cameras that are required. We can make use of the existing infrastructure because a lot of investment would have gone in already. Most 99.99% of the premises have surveillance already. So those cameras, be it analog, be it IP cameras, they can be brought into the same platform and be able to become intelligent through the use of the DURANC Vision software, the video analytics, the AI-based analytics that are provided, and then give you the outputs. So we will look at each of the points of concerns that we looked at in the first slide, which is from a vehicle perspective. So it's straightforward to think of what we typically track from a vehicle movement perspective. So every place that we go, there is a register, the security guard noting down what vehicles come, what vehicles go. What if that is automated? So you don't need somebody to note down. Think of how easy it is if you want to identify how many times a specific vehicle came into your premises during the last month. Looking at the registers is near impossible or very tedious. So automatic tracking through the system, which enables you a quick search, is a great benefit. So you will immediately know how many times this particular vehicle came during the last 6 months or whatever period that you would like to look at. You can also manage your parking in a better way by identifying how many vehicles are in, how many are staying for more than specified number of days. It could be a day, it could be 2 days. So you can see the vehicles that are abandoned are staying over an extended period of time. You can also track vehicles that are coming without any number plate, for example. You can also automate, for authorized vehicles, the boom barrier can open automatically if it's an authorized vehicle. And there are multiple variants of it. You can ensure the vehicle is authorized. Also, the driver is also an authorized driver by using facial recognition, for example. So both of them together can open the boom barrier. So those kind of customizations are possible. And you can also track the vehicles that are parked in the no parking zones, immediately get a notification and a trigger to avoid a scenario like we see here in the picture, where they had to break the glass and take the fire hydrant. So these are some of the aspects from a vehicle perspective.
So I just want to highlight one point before we go into the next step. All these what we are mentioning today, we are not asking for any kind of a new cameras to be placed or to be enhanced with a new kind of a equipment. There is a lot of times the question comes up: is edge camera the right one, or the server-based solution the right one? I mean, it is a debatable subject, but for the convenience of the investment sake, if you can invest in a good camera, and that good camera is giving feed, and you are able to do multiple analyses based on server-based solution like DURANC, then you don't need to replace those cameras if the functionality of the camera is obsolete. Sometimes the edge-based analytic, if you don't want it, then the camera itself become obsolete. But in this case, your cameras can be replaced. Even the number plate detection, you're just placing a 1080p camera. And then, we are doing analysis of the number plate detection, whitelist, blacklist, and then opening of the boom barrier. Everything is done with a, just 1080p camera without having any edge analytics on it.
Yeah. So when we look at the people perspective of it, the most important aspects are to ensure you have your staff attendance taken properly, especially of subcontractors. You would have various types of subcontractors, probably manpower, whether it is plumbers, gardening, etc. You can use facial recognition for taking the attendance of them. And also ensure that you have control over who your contractor is sending at what point, and if there are any blocked workers at one facility, they don't go and work in a different facility, because centrally you can administer all the, through facial recognition, all your facilities centrally can be administered. Yeah. Biometric fingerprints, we have seen some challenges in some of the facilities, and we have replaced with facial recognition for the workers, especially, because the fingerprints change or they go. Then you have ensuring access control as well, and occupancy measure of people to understand what kind of resources need to be deployed based on how much floor, how much of the occupancy is there on a floor. So it can help with planning your resources and resource allocation. You can detect if there is any crowding at any specific area. Then you can deploy your security personnel or staff immediately to that place. So through real-time alerts, you will be able to take actions and ensure the occupants are comfortable staying within the premises. From a security perspective, then when we move on, basically perimeter protection is the major aspect of it, to ensure there is no intrusion happening, there is nobody loitering at sensitive areas. There are some restricted zones where you have transformers, for example, or generator sets, etc. So where there is entry that is restricted in those zones, ensure that people don't go there or don't have access to it. You can track off-hours activity during the night if there is anybody moving around in these sensitive areas. You can, through analyzing the video feed, you can detect the suspicious activities, the behavior of the people. For example, frequently a few people are gathering around at the same time during the night at some place. Suspicious activities like that can be immediately notified for taking action. You can also track absence or presence of the guards at security posts, for example, whether the guard is present at the security post or not. Yeah. So behavior monitoring of the guards is also one of the aspects one of our customers is doing for that. So all of these from a security perspective can be done through the use of computer vision and AI by taking the video feeds, analyzing them, and providing real-time alerts. We look at the utilities perspective. This is where the integration with IoT also will come into picture. So the consumption of energy consumption, water consumption, conservation is one major aspect of it. Through the analysis of occupancy trends in specific zones, you can identify areas that are frequently unoccupied, less occupied, but still consuming a lot of energy. You can also detect unusual spikes or prolonged periods of high consumption, which can indicate energy waste or malfunctioning equipment that can be monitored. So you can also monitor the condition of the infrastructure to ensure that there is no energy wastage. You can detect faults easily through computer vision. Many of these will be through integration with IoT devices, for example. So data comes from the IoT device to the system. So it can immediately notify if there is any leakage, for example, or a defect. And through the video, you can analyze that and take immediate appropriate action.
So the important aspect of this integration with the IoT devices is basically to have a visual inspection to be done when you have a notification or a data point that comes from the IoT. The example of occupancy to manage the energy is outward API information that we send to the inbound systems, where they can actually take our feed and then say regulate the air conditioning or something. But at the same time, if there is a kind of a leaks or something happening in a specific zone, you need to have a real-time visual from that, basically taking the IoT from that information. And then we'll open up the cameras there, and then it becomes a visual inspection on the spot. And then subsequent issues can be resolved with the teams to be sent and all those things. That's a workflow. But giving a visual based on the IoT input is what important for anyone, so that it becomes immediate.
Yeah. And then from a compliance perspective, you can automatically detect any safety violations, such as wearing of PPE kits, wearing of safety harness, especially when working at the heights, detect access to unauthorized areas also. And environmental compliance, as we were talking about, detection of potential environmental hazards, such as leakage of hazardous substances, and then so you can get notified in real time. Process compliance perspective, from improper handling of chemicals, for example, whether you're wearing a proper gloves or not when you're handling the chemicals. So depending on the type of requirement or the facility that you are managing, the various analysis or the possibilities to analyze and then give immediate real-time notifications are possible. One example here is blocking of emergency exits. I know emergency exits should never be blocked, and if there is any object that's blocking it, can be notified immediately. Most of the times we see these kind of scenarios, whether these exits are properly lit, etc., or not, whether the exit pathways are properly maintained, the signs are given properly, especially in the basement parkings. When you look at it, there is a requirement that these exit signs should be properly lit and give directions to the people in case of a disaster, in case of an evacuation. So those also can be monitored through computer vision. Then look at waste management. This is again one of the areas that are critical for the proper functioning of the facility. There is a lot of waste that gets generated on a daily basis, depending on the type of the facility that is. We can do a lot of things with computer vision on it, starting from monitoring the fill levels of these waste bins to identifying and detecting hazardous substances in the waste streams, ensuring proper segregation and disposal of those hazardous materials. It can also detect overflows and fill level monitoring, can detect safety hazards with STP, such as spills or gas leaks, equipment malfunctioning, etc., can be monitored. It can also monitor the pump operations, identify excessive foam, for example, in the treatment process. All these are possible through computer vision, and they will help in terms of immediately taking corrective actions so it doesn't get into a major hazard. From a disaster management perspective, this is especially more useful when you have multiple facilities under your control and you can have a centralized access to all your facilities. You will be able to get real-time situational awareness of all your facilities, and whenever there is a disaster at one of the facilities, you will have on-the-ground information there. You can guide the evacuation processes, coordinate all the emergency responses through the real-time monitoring that you can do from wherever you are. It need not be we're showing a command control room here. It does not matter. Your smartphone becomes your command control wherever you are. Authorized personnel will have access to the authorized camera views from anywhere, and you can function with your phone as your command control center. I guess we can probably end with the fire and safety, wherein we can detect smoke and fire in the facility, monitor the fire exits, etc. I think, sir, I think you wanted to add some points on this one.
Yeah, see, there is a very frequent questions that come up with all the facilities we are visiting. Most of the time, the issue is by the time the smoke reaches the fire smoke detector, can you identify with the camera? And the exits that are blocked, that is one of the ones Vamshi has said. That's primary ones that we get the requirements. Apart from that, floor-wise occupancy is one of the things that's very critical for the fire. If you have multiple floors, and if you have 600 people came into the building, the advantage is you have cameras in every floor. When somebody is getting out of the elevator in that floor or coming through the staircase, you still can collect the information from 2 different cameras, 10 different cameras, keeping the count of the people in and out both. So at any given time, if there is an incident, a fire happens, if the fire alarm is on, automatically you can take up the list of the people, the number of people in each floor cumulatively, and which floor is empty, which floor is occupied, how many people are there in one floor, and if you have like 10 exits, how many people exited in each floor. All this can be analyzed into one dashboard. So if the fire officer coming, he knows exactly how many people have exited and how many people are there in each floor. This is done with the cumulative counting from all these different cameras in different floors and the cameras that are there in the exit paths of the emergency exits. So that gives us an opportunity where you have a lot of immediate action and focused action of which floors to be attended and which doesn't need to be attended. And all this information can be collected within no time with the computer vision.
Yeah, a few points actually, specifically that we wanted to mention are the safety related to open terraces. There were incidents where personnel jumped out from the open terrace, for example. So access to the open terraces to be restricted, or even if somebody is present, immediate notification to be given to the security or the facilities team on ground. Another request that we keep getting and that we are addressing is the safety for the swimming pool, for example. Especially this was in the hospitality industry, a specific focus on the hotels, for example, and larger residential communities as well, where if at all there is no movement of a person for a specific period of time at the swimming pool, then immediately it should be notified to the on-ground manager.
So that basically, if a person is missing, while swimming from the surface, and then for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever that is defined to time, then automatically switch on the hooter so that alarm is on. That requirement comes from many of the facilities that we have actually visited.
So when we look at the overall summary type of a picture, there are a lot of activities or the processes that can ease out through the use of computer vision and the appropriate system that you deploy and through analyzing the video feeds. But what are the typical points that are required from the system is that the system should be able to monitor the camera health, no matter what we say. If the camera is down, if we don't know, then there is no analysis possible also. So we need to be sure that these cameras are functioning all the time. The health of these cameras, whether they are monitored, they're streaming live or not, needs to be monitored. You should have proper fine-grained access control, because obviously there are various people that are various stakeholders for this for the cameras. So depending on various locations that you may have, various sites that you have, or within the site, what should the security guard have access to, what should the security manager should have access to, versus the facilities head should have access to. All that should be possible within the system that you're deploying. It should be possible even if when you want to investigate. One thing is the real-time notifications, obviously, but even when you want to go back and investigate, how easy it is to pick a specific recording from a date and time and pick out the appropriate video for the time period is very important. I know it doesn't matter how much of data you're storing if you don't have the ability to quickly access what you need. Yeah. So the ability to quickly look at the incidents, pinpoint to the time is important, and time-lapse videos help a lot in that aspect. So the system should provide that kind of a facility where you can condense the video of a larger period and be able to review quickly in a matter of a few minutes. Yeah. So the analytics, there are obviously providers of video analytics in multiple ways. And the analytics, the advantage with DURANC Vision platform is that it's an integrated system. There is no other third-party component that you plug in or integrate with a different VMS. So there are cameras, there is a VMS, and then there is an analytics provider, somebody else, and then you try to integrate all of them. There could be issues with latency or handshake, etc. Those get eliminated if it's one integrated system or a platform which is doing connectivity of the cameras, recording of the cameras, then analyzing them through AI and giving out the notifications. So it goes even one step further. Not only the notifications are sent, but the actions that are taken for that notification are also tracked. Like, for example, when an event is triggered that gets notified to me, I can review it and then I can escalate it to my supervisor, for example, for him to have a look at. And then the supervisor gets a notification of that. He will be able to review that and then approve that or take whatever action he needs to take on it and close that particular incident. So all the actions that are taken for a specific incident also should be tracked, and they should be available on your fingertips. So the system that you are deploying should be from end to end, connecting from the camera, starting from the camera, taking the feed to recording to analysis, and giving out notifications to the actual action that is taken, tracking the actions taken on those incidents. So all of these as an integrated one single solution is what helps in overall bringing in efficiencies and optimization.
So to add further to that, the system has to be open architecture, where if your requirements are not in the list of already pre-built analytics, we should be able to develop that and deploy that for you. So that's the open architecture that we have, where if a specific user requirement is there of an analytic, it may not be applied to the other facilities or other use cases, but it may be very specific for you. Then we can actually develop and deploy within 3 to 5 weeks. That's what we have done in a lot of cases, where Vamshi has mentioned one use case in SEZ, where there is a combination of two different analytics were required. One is when the vehicle comes, the camera feed, we recognize the number plate. And if it is a whitelist which is approved, then the driver looks at the camera for the facial recognition. The analytic looks at that face and then says that he is authorized person, but is he authorized to drive that car? So the analysis is basically a fusion of these two, where the driver has to be belonging to that car, right? So that analysis, after it is done, we open the boom barrier with an integration of a relay. So these combinations come up with as a customized analytics, which we develop them and provide them on a custom basis.
And this is what we are referring to in terms of events getting triggered, and whatever event that gets triggered across your multiple locations, across all the cameras. Anytime an event is triggered by the system, automatically that gets popped up on the screen for you, and you can only focus on your incidents rather than having to watch all the cameras all the time. So we move away from the eyeball monitoring, 24/7 eyeball monitoring, into an event-based management system. So you have an event that gets triggered, automatically it gets popped up. You also have the live view from that particular camera. System pulls the feed and gives you the live view immediately along with the event. So you can have a look at that and then take an action. Like we were talking, you can escalate it for a further review, which is called a flagged event, for example. Then the supervisor can review it and then approve it. So you have various statuses of the events. The event initially will be in the pending status, gets into a flagged status if it is flagged for review by the person who is monitoring, then gets approved status once action is taken and it is closed by the supervisor. So you, at any point of time, you can see how many incidents are in the pending status, how many are in the flagged status and approved. The goal is to ensure that all the events that get triggered are acted upon and everything is in the approved status. So that helps you in terms of how efficiently the monitoring is also happening, for example, to ensure that all the incidents are acted upon. A few screenshots in terms of providing the centralized view. There is no limitation in terms of the number of locations that can be connected to the platform. There is no limitation in terms of number of cameras that can be connected from each location. And there are multiple ways in which you can connect the cameras. There is no need to have a public IP or a specific network. Through any type of a network, the cameras can get connected. And we spoke about already that it could be analog camera or IP camera. All of them can be connected to the same platform for centralized viewing. You can group cameras based on the functionality. All the entry-exit cameras can be in one group, for example, that you want to watch or monitor at once. So all those possibilities are there through the system. You can also see whenever events happen, even there's a timeline view, so you can quickly get into a specific event, like we were talking about investigation. So if there is any event at a point of time, you can quickly pinpoint to that. Yeah, there was some event that got triggered on this camera here. Click on that. It will throw out what is that image of that event for that camera, and also start playing back the recording from that point of time. You can also search from these events. There's a smart search, which is basically to say from all these events that got triggered, you can pick up a particular person, for example, or a vehicle, and say, I want to look at all the similar looking persons or vehicles across different cameras. So you have a track of the same person wherever he appeared across multiple cameras, or the vehicle that appeared across various cameras. The real-time alerts that we spoke about in terms of getting immediate notifications. We spoke about health monitoring to ensure the cameras are up and running, how many cameras are up, how many cameras are down, so that immediately you can take action on it. This is an important feature so that no camera is down for a longer period of time. There could be a service provider for you who supplied the cameras and providing maintenance, so they can be notified and they can take appropriate action immediately. System also provides default reports along with notifications, so you can do trend analysis over a period of time. How many times a specific type of an incident is happening? Is it happening more on a specific weekday or a month, etc.? All that analysis can be done. Moreover, it can also be exported. The data can be exported if you are having a data analysis tool, for example, a BI tool. You could import that data from our system into that and do further analysis as well. The beauty of the system is that any analytic can be applied on top of any camera. So there is no feature or functionality that we depend on from a camera perspective. All that is required is the video feed, and the live feed is analyzed by the system. And we have a host of analytics that are typically applicable across multiple verticals or scenarios that are integrated. As we were talking earlier, if there are any specific analytics that are developed for specific use cases, they get deployed. The neural networks that are built will be specific to that customer and deployed there. But these are in general applicable across multiple verticals, and they're available off the shelf when we deploy the system for you. So you can pick up a particular camera and apply any of these analytics. There are people-related analytics, there are vehicle-related analytics, and there are general security-related analytics like intrusion, loitering, object watch, etc. So you can apply these analytics during specific periods of time. Like, for example, you are looking for intrusion detection only in the night. So you can schedule that analytic on this particular camera only during the night. So the scheduling is also possible. End to end, all the communication, all the data is encrypted in the platform. So security is at the forefront of our system. All the data is encrypted both in transit and at rest. So there is no concerns about security or confidentiality of the system. So to summarize, it's not a one product or one component that solves a specific problem. It's a platform that is extendable, so we can deploy newer analytics to tailor to your specific requirements. It's not a silo that's functioning individually or on its own way. We have well-defined integrations through APIs, both pull API and push API for integrations with external systems. Like we spoke about our integration with IoT data, for example, our integration with the visitor management system when vehicle is detected, number plate is detected by the computer vision platform. So those integrations are there. You can, I think, initially when we started the presentation, Mr. Srinivas was mentioning that you cannot have all the deployment at one go. We take up in terms of what adds value immediately and then keep adding on to it by leveraging the benefits that we get out of in a phased manner. And that's how the system is also built. It's completely flexible. We can reuse the existing infrastructure. It supports incremental deployment. So you can deploy a few analytics on a few cameras, get the advantage of it, then get on to adding more analysis on top of the system. We work as a partner in conjunction because AI is still, though there is a lot of talk about it, it's still in its initial stages only. There is still a long way to go in terms of getting the how much benefit that we can derive out of it, and there is definitely large scope for it. And the possibility comes only if we work together as a partner, and that's what we are here for.
Right. Thanks, Vamshi. I think there is a hand raise from Kevin.
Those who wish to talk to the speakers can raise their hand, so I can take them on call. I can allow you to speak to the speakers. So those who want to talk, you can raise your hand so that I can allow you to talk to them. Meanwhile, I will take up these questions. Srini, I'm sure you would have gone through most of these questions, but I would like to take Ananta Ramu is asking how to monitor tail entries at the gate.
If this is the question about the tailgating at the entrances where more than one person enters swiping a card or showing or punching a pin and then going when the door opens, more than one person enters into it, that's pretty much possible to alert immediately and then send notification to the whoever required to be notified. If more than one person is entering when the door is open and before it closes, that's the trigger that we send to.
Okay, Anantaram, that's possible. He explained you. If you want more detail, you can always send out a mail to Vamshi Srini, whose mail ID is already mentioned in the chat box. So Ria Jain is asking, when it comes to detecting the presence of security guards at the gate, is there any option where the entrance or the exit gate at this scenario can get auto-locked and unlocked once they are redetected even during non-working hours?
Yep. Vamshi, go ahead.
Yeah, it is definitely possible. As we said, relay integrations are possible. Like, for example, we spoke about a couple of simple scenarios wherein if the vehicle is detected, the number plate is an authorized vehicle, the boom barrier can open automatically. A similar way, if the face is authorized to enter into the networking room, for example, the IT room, the electromagnetic door can open automatically. Similar way, if let's say in your scenario, if there is no guard detected, which is the minimum staffing, so the minimum staffing is not met, the trigger can be sent to the system as a relay signal, and then the gate can close automatically as long as it supports taking that relay input. Like typically electromagnetic door, we integrate through the relay devices. Similar functionality is possible.
Yeah, so I think more so the question is basically if the guard is missing, they want the door to be locked so that it is safe. And that's the analytic, we call it as minimum staffing. And if you apply the minimum staffing as one person, right? So if that one person security guard is missing, automatically the door will get locked, and that stays like that until he comes back.
Okay, going to Vidigur, this is something related to IoT when the water level overflow, but can camera, if camera is located nearby, can the water overflowing can be? It's basically whether you will be able to pay for the development of the software for water overflow. possible, but at what cost? So is something that you must think. So Arish Magoo is asking, what is the action is taken in case of power failure and there's a time gap in making alternate arrangement for switching to DG set?
What is the action taken in case of power failure?
Power failure, that is camera failure or the DVR failure. So you'll miss the action.
An operational item. I'm not sure we understand the question correctly. But if there is a delay in switching on to the DG, for example, if the power failure is detected, it's the DG that handshakes with it automatically, and there are controls that switch it on. Computer vision, I'm not sure if it will have any direct role to play. It could be more of an IoT, if at all there is, but not with computer vision that we are focusing on today.
Bharadwaj is asking, what is the accuracy level of the system?
So the accuracies are very high because, like what Vamshi has explained, our solution is a very, very well tightly integrated, right from taking the feed from the camera all the way through processing it for the AI. We don't have a handshake with an external system or an external analytic. So to say, where our VMS takes the feed and then send it back to some other third-party analytics where they process it and send it back, and then we do the notification. That's not there. Everything is internal to the system, to our internal server system. So everything happens internally. So our latencies are minimal to low to zero. I cannot call it zero, but near to zero. That is what, how we process the entire thing.
Okay, Sambandham Chakapa is from the fire expert. So is AI-assisted system passive or active? Can system identify smoke and trigger the firefighting system? So this is something that we are covering in the next edition of the webinar, how AI can help the fire system or fire protection industry, so and also security. So we'll be covering that topic in the next webinar. So I will keep it suspended till then. So Arish Magoo, what about the benefit analysis or return on investment? Is any case study highlighting this factor available?
Absolutely. See, that's the opening statements that me and Dominic was discussing. And even Dominic, when he mentioned about the overflow of the tank, he said, like, what is the cost benefit analysis of having a computer vision versus IoT, right? So this is where we are very, very clear in terms of, our role. We stop where we don't need to get into, and then we precisely minimize ourselves to where we can effectively involve and then do. That's the design aspect of the entire solution based on the requirement. So that is what is the discussion, negotiation, and elaborate work that we do with the collaboration with the customer.
Kevin is asking, you have mentioned about NPU. Are you using this specific hardware? Kevin DeMello, you have mentioned about NPU. Are you using this for a specific hardware?
No, I'm not sure.
What you mentioned about the NPU.
NPU. So, Kevin, if you can just elaborate a little bit about it, we'll come back to you. Meanwhile, Bharadwaj is asking, can you share schematic drawing of integrating different systems with AI solution?
Sure,
yes,
we can do that. We can take it offline and then discuss.
Lakshmi is my colleague who's there sharing the email IDs of both Srini and Vamshi. You can write to him personally. Lakshmi, please keep typing Srini and Vamshi's email ID so that they can write. So, Rupesh Chavan, what is your view on running video analytics at edge versus core data center for large multi-site project?
So you mentioned about multi-site. So I'm assuming that you have a centralized command control or a data center which is drawing the video feeds from multiple locations from multiple cameras, right? So we don't do edge-based analytics per se. Edge is more of a on-camera for us, but we move from edge to near edge. Basically, what we do is either you concentrate a centralized location for the entire VAs, video analytics infrastructure, where we are taking the data and doing the analytics and then sending back the notifications or alerts, everything. Or in a hybrid kind of a solution, we can deploy the centralized VMS and centralized servers at one location in your DC. And at the locations, each location, you can have a small form factor, GPUs, which actually does the analytics and then sending back the data to the central location for the notification purpose, where the data is actually reduced in terms of moving from end location to the central location for analysis. Because after doing the analysis, we're just sending the metadata, and that becomes a small footprint to send it back the notification. So it becomes more efficient. And this is where the design comes in. This is where we need to analyze how we want to deploy it. But our solution is extremely flexible in terms of deployment models. We can go completely cloud, 100%, and do everything, VMS, analytics, everything in the cloud if you have enough bandwidth to push your cameras to the cloud. On the second model, we can do a complete deployment in your DC to run it locally if it is a single site. Or we can deploy it, your centralized command control, and then provision analytics at a distributed locations, and then take the feed and store it in central location. Those kind of mix and match hybrid models, all kind of deployment models are possible. But for me, running it at the central location is the best way, because I can control all the GPU infrastructure. Easy to manage. Per se, but provided if your bandwidth between the locations is comfortable.
So he says, thanks, Rupesh, and thanks for answering questions. He's from Dell Technology. And Jay Krishnan's and Pillai, what will be the impact on our business if lose connection with your server or customer? Can we? I think you need to clarify on the server. Whose server?
No, that's okay. I think I can give a answer basically on a cloud-based. Probably he's looking at the cloud-based implementation. Mr. Jayakrishna, we have customers who are connected to our cloud with 5,000 cameras with 400 locations. That's one of the largest. Right? And we have warehouses from 70 locations with almost 1,300 cameras to our cloud. For them, the trade-off is CapEx versus OpEx, right? They don't want to put any infrastructure investment upfront so that they can up and running within a 1 week, where all these locations with DVRs, some with NVRs, all with different kind of makes and models of cameras, all are brought into central command control within no time, like a 5 to 8 days before doing analytics, right? So consolidation of cameras, centralization. That's what we discussed last month. So that possibility is there. And if in that case, the trade-off is, if you lose the internet connectivity, you lose the data, right? So for that, we have a small, equipment that you can put, like a PC in the location, where it acts as a gateway. And the gateway software is what we provide you, and that resides on that computer, which actually consolidates the cameras and then locally stores and pushes it to the cloud. And also live feed is given in a live manner. Okay, in case if there is a downtime of internet, it is actually storing in the local, and once the establishment of the link is done, it pushes back into the cloud so the evidence is not lost. So we have those ways and means of doing it, and that's what we need to discuss with you. What's your kind of system that you want, whether you want it in your local DC, then you need to provide the internet connectivity, and then you need to provide depends on how you need to go with it. And
Thank
like
you.
I said, we are. I just want to add one thing, Dominic. We are both agnostic with the cameras, and also we are agnostic with hardware installation. So the servers we procure or the customer can procure, and then we deploy our platform on it.
Wonderful. I don't see much questions coming for you, Srini and Vamshi. We had wonderful participation from almost 280 participants. I still have people I would love to hear from you. Those who couldn't put a question here, we have put email IDs of Mr. Srini and Vamshi. I have been with them since quite almost 2 years now. Very flexible, very proactive. Anytime, anywhere, any part of the country, they love to travel and do their own study and give you a design which is more like a tailor-made. They're not a box-moving solutions. So DURANC, once you engage, you'll start enjoying their conference and the services and the product. So I've been with Srini and Vamshi, trying to communicate with a tagline, if you see, do more with surveillance, not just watching an image, looking at 365 days on a monitor, waiting for an event to happen, even waiting for an event to be captured. So by using VMS, you don't lose any data, any event that occurred, and you can write analytics, what exactly you want to watch in the entire CCTV, whether it is retail, whether it is warehouse, whether it is construction, and whether processes in mining. There is no end to this design of the solution design. So I would like anybody who's there or quite keen to interact with Vamshi and Srini, please get back to them. And we'll come back soon. When is that, Kirtana, when you're doing next program?
13th.
We are doing on July 13th on more on fire, and because my passion is about fire and safety, I wanted Srini and Vamshi to talk about, how many lives we can save through VMS or adopting AI, how many lives we can, or how many people are there in the building, how many are evacuated, how do you do the counting, and how do you supplement the effort of firefighters who are yet to reach the location. Can you see in the tab while you reaching out to the location, what measure that you can, how you can address people to how to evacuate, which side they have to move, whether not to get panicked, stay there, because the cameras in the premises, how you can integrate with this whole system and help this emergency rescue people or with the facility manager within the complex. So it's very important how AI can handshake or video images can handshake with emergency responders. We will get to know more in the next session, that is on 13th of July, same time. So I'm sure this will be very enlightening for the entire emergency disaster management team, fire department. So I would like to see more and more people coming in and listen to Srini and Vamshi, what they can do for this nation to save lives. So till then, stay safe. Srini, have a wonderful trip in Tripura. I believe it's a lovely place. And you're very close to Manipur. It's a beautiful place. Yeah. Unfortunately, people are dying there, a lot of riots. So be careful, be safe. We are from safety and security domain. Wish you all the best for the meeting. I'm sure that you're going to do some presentation. Vamshi, thank you very much for wonderful presentation. Many people are asking to share the PPT. I'm sure we could share this recording of this, and Bharadwaj and Jai Krishnan, a lot of people were appreciating the effort, and we'll come back to you soon, and wish you all the best. Have a great weekend and stay safe. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone.